analysed over and over again until the next school shooting in America diverts our attention. We're living in a gossip society, focused on how people perform or behave in the spotlight. The political debate is a talent contest where puppets promise us the world, along with tax cuts and increased spending on health, only to renege on these things when they come into power. Reality TV rules TV, and by default rears its ugly head in news articles more than we would probably like as viewers. Who cares about the latest Big Brother winner, or who won the Oscar for Best Male Actor, or what prostitute the president is sleeping with? Do these things really bear any importance in the grander scheme of things? At what point does the Harvey Weinstein scandal and all the hashtag #MeToo women that are coming out of the woodwork, at what point does that become too much? How can we gauge where the saturation point is? Everybody wants to give their 2 cents on every matter, but do any of us care? Don't we all have our own problems to deal with? I guess the breaking point is when other people's problems have the potential to have a direct effect on us. Then we're glued to our TV screens and guzzling down every piece of information we can get our hands on. But nevertheless, sometimes ignorance is bliss. We live in a world of choice, and that is what the media provides to a certain extent. We have numerous news outlets, some left-wing, others right. One side will tell you that 1 million people attended a protest on women's rights, while the other will state it was half of that. So how can we be critical enough with what we see and hear? In this day and age, it seems more important than ever to know what the truth is. But it seems that the truth nowadays is multifaceted and totally dependent on where you get your information from. For example, America and Britain accused Iraq of harbouring weapons of mass destruction. Tabloids helped to point the finger, and now 10 years later the media attention turns to North Korea while we cover up the ruins that we left in Iraq. Cross-referencing information is the only way that we can really tell if Russia is really on the verge of attacking the US, or if unemployment numbers are really dropping in Spain. We live in a global village, and most of us will know people from all 4 corners of the planet at this point. Social media allows us to keep in contact with each other, and maybe by communicating with people that we know, we can hear information from the horse's mouth. Maybe someone you know in Japan or in the Middle East can shed some light on the current situation in North Korea instead of depending on hearsay and Chinese whispers from the media. The bottom line is that it's mostly near to impossible to know what the truth is nowadays. With serious issues, it can sometimes take decades before the truth surfaces. The government has the media wrapped around their finger. The media are simply cannons bombarding us with propaganda. There are some obscure websites that dedicate their content to positive news, but are we really interested in all that sort of stuff? I don't think so. We want to know how bad our politicians' English is, or who is the latest person to become an overnight celebrity. Give us a juicy scandal to sink our teeth into and we're generally happy. At the end of the day, money talks, and the cameras and microphones are inevitably pointing where the dollars are flowing. The movers and shakers of the world are the ones who attract the media's attention. And news companies take advantage of this by creating buzz and clickbait headlines, while Facebook stoops as low as to come out with fake news to attract attention. We're living in a Big Brother society. The media has eyes everywhere. In spite of this, I would argue that the most trustworthy media, in spite of its inevitable biases, would have to be the news channels that grace our TVs on a daily basis and the newspapers that we buy from shop corners or read online. The powers that be may well have a hidden agenda that they are disseminating through censorship of these media, but it's all that we have at the moment. At the same time, there is pressure on journalists to come up with meaningful content, and they have to be bolder in filtering out the nonsense and reporting what matters. Health, employment, pensions, taxes, corruption, crisis, pollution, and inequality, I would say, are among the most pressing issues with which we are faced in early 2018. But the media at the same time must provide breathing space in order for there to be clarity of thought. But we must at the same time keep an eye out for alternative points of view and strengthen our ties with other cultures and try more to understand what it's like to walk in other people's shoes. The bottom line is that we must make a concerted effort to keep abreast of what is happening in the world and respect our fellow human beings.